Oh my god, I am so tired. Yeah. So it's been a hell of a weekend. We got a lot of progress done. We got the engine actually back in the car. And you can see the crazy wastegate dumps that I built. So I got the wastegate tubes all mounted up and everything. Engine is back in. Now, Friday night was the original plan to put the engine in, and we ran into a huge issue. We got the motor in, tried putting the transmission in, me and a couple buddies just trying to stuff it up in there, and we could get it almost all the way in, and then it just wouldn't go the rest of the way. And, you know, figured, okay, clutch isn't lined up, something like that. It felt like it was going in, put a couple bolts in, kind of snugged them up, and it was one of those things like when you start snugging it up, you can feel if it's not right, and it didn't feel right. So we backed it off and decided, you know what, screw it, let's pull the engine back out of it, try to mate it on the ground. Pulled the engine out, tried to mate the trans on the ground, wouldn't go in. Then I remembered, this is an LS3 crankshaft. LS3 didn't have a T56, so the pilot bearing was wrong. The actual input shaft was hitting the pilot bearing because on the LS2, they sit in further on the crankshaft. So had to go get a new pilot bearing for it, threw it on, and then put the transmission together with it, took the front clip off the car, dropped it all in first thing Saturday morning. Unfortunately, I didn't record a lot of stuff. I was just so busy and just thrashing away at this thing. But I started off, I did record me building a little bit of the downpipe. So I kind of mocked that up, put the hot side of the turbo on, and then built the downpipe, and then built the rest of the exhaust. While I have it on the ground, I did have to cut a small section out of my hood because I decided I want to keep it hinged. It makes it a lot easier than having to take the hood on and off with 4 pins. So it is hinged now, and it actually clears everything. It nicks this V-band a little bit, but that's whatever. And it does look pretty cool. These have to get heat wrapped too. The downpipes have to get heat wrapped, and I do need to make small little mount brackets for them because they will move if I don't. Under vibration and heat and all that, they will start to move. So gotta heat wrap these and put mount tabs on there. Anyways, let's lift this up. I'll show you the exhaust I built. So our exhaust actually has pretty good clearance. It is a full 4-inch exhaust system made out of aluminum because save weight, save money. So we have a full 4-inch aluminum exhaust running all the way out past the rear axle right there. Went through, tightened up fuel lines, stuff like that. I think I told you guys I bled the brakes in the last video. But yeah, exhaust system is all done. Tucked it up as tight as I could get it. We have a mount right back here on the back of the subframe. And then we also have another mount right here. So between those two mounts and being bolted to the downpipe, we shouldn't have to worry about too much flex. Now, you're probably wondering why I would do aluminum instead of running stainless steel. Well, first of all, aluminum is like a quarter of the price of stainless steel. Well, not a quarter, maybe like half. About a half the price of stainless steel, and it's super, super lightweight. Now, I didn't do an aluminum downpipe. The downpipe is steel, and that's because right at the front of the turbo, there is a ton of heat there, and I didn't want to break the exhaust, so, or melt it or anything like that. So, you know, we did a steel downpipe for the first couple feet, then after that, all aluminum. Total, that whole entire aluminum exhaust system weighs about 10 pounds, so it's a lot lighter than if it was steel, that's for sure. Now, a couple issues we ran into. I was trying to get this thing completely buttoned up and to the point where basically I could throw injectors in it, fire it. But I had to do a timing chain guide on the front cover, behind the front cover, and to do that I had to drop the pan down and pull the oil pump off and then put the chain kit on and all that. Now I went to go put it all back together and I realized the machine shop didn't put one of my oil galley plugs back in the front of the engine. They put 2 of them in. They didn't put the front one in though, and they didn't give me one back or give me a new one to put in there. So that front cover is still all off right now and loose. So that's why the turbo and everything isn't back in there. Is because otherwise I'll have to take all that back apart just to put that plug in. So once I get that plug, I'll be able to button the front of this up, put the RTV on the pan in the corners by the front and rear cover, get that all aligned and torque all that down. Then after that's torqued down, I do need to put my the input output right there for the oil filter, oil cooler setup. I gotta put my block adapter in that and finish running the oil lines that I have right here. And then the oil system will be done. I wired up my oil pressure sensor because that was not in my harness yet. Did have to do some fuckery, we'll call it, to get that to work because the clearance under the intake manifold with it being backwards was super tight. So I kind of cut the plug down and cut the sensor down and got it to repin in there ish. It'll work. But yeah, a couple other things we got in. We have our vinyl up there for doing the graphics on the car, sponsor logos, stuff like that. Didn't do any work in the back of the car. That's all pretty much buttoned up. Just need to throw relays in the fuse box. And I still need to build that shield in the rear underneath where the wheel is for tire protection, or to protect the wires from tire, I should say. I did try to put my shifter in, so I started putting my shifter in. I got like a bunch of stuff to clean that. Luckily I didn't have to disconnect the brake line on my handbrake because one of the access holes for the bolt on it is underneath it. I can't talk right now. I've got like 4 hours of sleep all weekend. I've been working on this car so much, but the bolts for the shifter were not long enough, so I need to get longer bolts to actually bolt it to the transmission, and then that'll be buttoned up. There were a couple things I needed to get still that I found. I need to size up a alternator belt for it because I did not size that up yet, but I have to finish the front cover and put the balancer on there before I can do that. And then I need to get a base calibration put on the PCM so that I can fire it with a 3-bar map sensor and 1000cc injectors. Speaking of 3-bar map sensors, I accidentally broke the nipple off of my map sensor when I was putting the engine in somehow. So I gotta change that out. Luckily I have another one, so that's not that big of a deal. I just need to readapt it to the push lock hose. My brain's all over the place right now. I can't think. So yeah, these still gotta get heat wrapped. I gotta do the heat shielding on here. You can see the that I heat wrapped all of the hoses and everything that go down here. So this stuff actually usually works pretty well, so I'm not really too concerned about heat on the coolant lines being that close to the header. It probably shouldn't be an issue, and if it is, I'll just build some heat shield and put something there. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Still gotta paint the mirrors because I don't have the mirrors on the car. Those are still red. Those are gonna get trim black. Still a lot of things to button up, just nut and bolting stuff here and there, and trying to finish this thing up. Anyways, that's gonna be it for this one though. So like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, follow the build, head on over to ShaneWheelerRacing.com, pick up some merch, and until the next one, I'll catch you guys later.